this is the bullet scene. Today I will explain how its code works. In the general explanation I explained about all those nodes. Now I will show you the code. So basically all it needs to do is move, detect collision, and after a timer remove itself. And it also has a damage attribute. When it hits something, that something needs to know how much damage to take. So this is its speed. That's the life timer, basically 2 seconds after it's created. That's the life counter. Let's show you how that's done. Those are 2 lines. The life timer. First, using a delta, we increment the life counter. If you don't know what a delta is, read about it. It's basically, if I remember from the days of Flash, it's the difference of time in a game loop, the time passed between ticks, between loop iterations. It's meant so that computers with different CPUs will still see game objects at the same speed. Read about it. I think Godot documentation has an explanation about it. So basically we increment the delta, and if life counter is bigger than the life timer, bigger than 2, in this case, remove the object. Not actually remove it, make it inactive in the Godot engine. For the movement, take its transform origin and increment to it the transform base of the z-axis, multiplied by the speed and multiplied by the delta. Basically, if you rotate the bullet, it will move in that rotation. That's what does that. So hit detection, we have a variable called hit. Get overlapping areas gets all Godot areas that are overlapping with this area. The bullet base node is an area. So get all areas that are colliding with the bullet's area and put them here. So if it's not null, like if you get, or false, if you get any objects that collide with the bullet, this will be true. And then we get the first object that hit the area by calling hit at position 0. And we don't want the area that the bullet hit, we want its parent. Let's say it hits an enemy. There's an enemy here. It hits the enemy's area, right? We don't want the area. We want the parent, the rigid body. We want the root node, so we can communicate with its script attributes and all its other nodes. So we get the parent of the first object that hit the bullet, and then we check if it has a method take damage. If it has a method called take damage, call the take damage of the object that the bullet hit, and pass to it the bullet as a reference using self. Let's see how a take damage method looks like in the fighter.gd. In our case it's enemy. It uses the script fighter, and it has a method called take damage. So when a bullet hits it, it will call take damage. It will call take damage here, and it will pass to it the bullet here as a reference. You see, we pass the bullet reference to take damage. So now we can, first thing we do is remove the bullet. We don't want it to continue colliding or pass through or whatever. And then we want the bullet's team. If it's not from our team, do take damage, do this code here. So if the shields are larger than 0, meaning the shields are intact, let's say the shields are 10, reduce the bullets hit dot damage, reduce the bullets damage from the shields. Like let's say the damage is 3, so now our shields will equal 7. And make the shield mesh visible. You know, it will be visible for an instant. Another script will make it false. So, you know, it will be, once it's hit, you'll see the blue, the opaque blue circle over the enemy to indicate the shield was hit. If shields are lower or equal to 0, reduce the HP, like the bullet has managed to pass through the shield. So do direct damage to the whole HP minus the damage of the bullet. And in any case where, you know, shield is not bigger than 0, do damage directly to the whole, to the HP. And then we check if HP is equal or lower than 0, set the flag dead to true, so we know that this fighter is dead. Create an instance of explosion. At the top here we have the explosion scene. We preload the explosion scene, and here we create an instance of the explosion and we add it to the owner of the fighter. We don't want it to be a child of the object that was hit, we want it to be a child of the level. So owner.addChild, boom, the explosion. Explosion global transform. Then we make the position of the explosion be the same as the position of, you know, the fighter that exploded. Self global transform. So it will get its position and rotation. So that's why you see explosions in different rotations and all that. And then we call explode, which emits all the particles of explosion, and then we remove the fighter. That's like if it's dead and its HP is below 0. So yeah, that's how the getting hit and taking damage works in my game. This can be used for any object, like take damage. It can be used for any purpose of taking damage for any object, not only the fighter. I think I'll have to refactor it, this method, or you can just copy it between objects if you need the take damage method. It's maybe you'll need different logic. Maybe objects like the big ship, it doesn't have shields. So basically, like if an asteroid hits, I don't know, a fighter, it can also the same way call take damage and pass to it the asteroid and how much damage it does. For example, the missile can use take damage. I think it does. Somewhere here. Yeah, it does. It uses take damage to damage whatever it hit. Basically, it doesn't care what it hits. This can be a fighter, it can be the player, it can be a big ship, an asteroid, whatever. It checks if it has a method called take damage. If it does, it calls it and passes to it itself with all of its attributes. The two attributes you want is the damage and the team. Maybe we'll have stuff that has damage types, like I don't know, an EMP gun that disables the ship, so we can in take damage check the objects if it has an attribute like damage type and check what the damage type does and run code accordingly. So basically it's a very simple system. Yeah, I don't have any more to say about it. I hope it's easy to understand. If it's not, contact me. I think I explained it in a simple manner. And that's it for this video.